Cutie Pies. I am Lanikia, and you are watching What Happened on the Soaps. This is Days of Our Lives edition. Today is Monday, November the 20th, 2023. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give this one a solid 7.5. I enjoyed it, and it went by really fast. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into this. As you saw, I'm just gonna start showing you guys like the last few minutes of the soap because it really sums it up for those who don't click the link or don't, because some people don't watch the actual soap. But if you watch the last 3 minutes, it pretty much sums up what happened on the episode for the day. Okay, so first of all, we get into Teresa. No, actually, let's go ahead and go over here to Maggie. So Maggie and Constantine are in their room, or she's in his room. And remember, on Friday he kissed her, and so when he kisses her, he's just like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that." And she says, "No, no, no, Constantine, it's okay." He said, "I don't know what came over me. You're newly widowed, and I'm taking advantage of you." And she was like, "No." And he said, "I need to leave immediately." And she was like, "Constantine, what are you talking about? You don't have to leave." And he's like, "Yes, I do. I need to leave. I'm ashamed of myself. If you don't mind, I just want to pack and go." Because he says, "I feel like I've overstayed my welcome, and that kiss just proves it. Let me leave." And so she leaves out of the room, and Constantine tells himself, like, "What are you doing? What are you thinking? Like, you are making the path, or setting up you're setting everything up so that you can take advantage of Maggie and get this money, and then you go and blow it by kissing her. What is wrong with you?" But anyways, he when he still starts to pack his things up, and Sarah and Xander are downstairs. Now he reminds her that the custody hearing is today, and she says, "Oh my gosh, I can't leave the baby." Because the baby was just, someone tried to kidnap her, and so she's just in the mind frame of, "I do not want to leave her." And he says, "No, you don't have to." This weather just doesn't know what he wants to. He says, "No, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have, I am going to, what if I just drop the custody case?" And she said, "Are you serious?" He says, "Yes, I will drop the custody case, because I never thought you were unfit mother, and seeing the worry and what you went through today, knowing I would be causing that pain on you by taking your child away. He does not want that for her." And so she says, "Oh, thank you." And then she tells him, I always knew you were going to be a wonderful father." I said, "Okay, I cannot." You two leave me out of the conversation. But she tells him, "I knew you were going to be a wonderful father. I guess it goes without saying. I just was upset with what you had done. And so, but I know Victoria is lucky to have you." And he says, "I always wanted us, to co-parent, I mean, to be together for Victoria." And she said, "I wanted that too." The next thing you know, they're leaning towards each other, and Maggie comes in. "How's my girl? Oh, am I interrupting something?" And Sarah's like, "No." I said, "Well, Maggie can clearly see she was interrupting something." But they're talking, and to Maggie, and she says Constantine is about to leave. No, actually, they thank her, and say, "Oh my gosh, we were just talking about how grateful we are, and how Xander is going to drop the custody case, and we're going to just co-parent and everything." And Maggie, of course, was happy to hear this. And they said, "Actually, we came up with this because of what happened today, and thank goodness Constantine was here, so that he got brought our baby back home from the would be kidnapper." And Maggie said, "Speaking of Constantine, he's about to leave." And then we see Constantine come down with his suitcase, and Sarah's like, "What's going on?" And so he tells them he feels like he's overstayed his welcome, and it's time for him to go home to Greece. And Sarah says, "It was crazy before everything happened today with the kidnapping. I was telling my mom that I felt like she was becoming too dependent on you, and everything, when she wanted you to stay through Christmas." And he said, "See, so it's perfect that I want to leave." And Sarah says, "No, it's not, because after today, I see why, we need you." And so she convinces him to stay. And, it didn't take much convincing for Constantine. So he's going to stay through Christmas and everything. I said, is it about to go down at Christmas? I don't know. We're going to find out. But so they're very happy about this. And And Maggie and Constantine leave, and she goes back to the room with him, and she just tells him, she's happy that he's staying. And then Sarah and um, Xander continue to talk, and of course, they want to try to work out. I don't know. They're gonna get back together. Y'all know they were gonna get back together. We all knew this. I didn't know it was gonna be this fast, but we knew they were gonna find their way back to each other. So that's what's going on with that. So they call their lawyers, and they both cancel the whole custody battle that they were gearing up for. So that's all we have there, y'all. And then we go over here to Brady and Teresa. So Brady and Teresa are talking, right? Because remember, he came in and I said, I should have known he didn't hear her conversation. But he says all he heard was the part of she wants to stay out of it. And see, he was like, what have you done now? And she said, I slept with Alex. I said, girl, she said, the when we went to that Greece trip and I wanted to come to your room and you didn't let me, Alex was comforting me because he knew how bad I felt. And I slept with Alex. And he said, why am I not surprised? She said, but I don't want people to know, especially since Alex is my boss now. He's like, well, if you don't want people to know, who are you on the phone with? And she said, Stephanie, because I told her, and she was just asking me, how everything was going. And he was like, oh, okay. And then so he was asking her a few questions about it, like it was just one time, and now that y'all are roommates. And she was like, why are you jealous, Brady? I said, I don't think Brady's jealous. I think he's just nosy. Good morning, Mila. I said, I don't think he's jealous. He's just nosy, girl. And Alexa, stop. And so she tells him, he tells her, I don't care what you're doing or whatever, but if Alex, but because I know it won't last long between you and Alex, his reputation, your reputation, this isn't going to last. So it is what it is. So then Alex comes back in and he's like, everything good between y'all? And, they say yes. Yeah, it's all good. And so Brady tells them I have to leave, and they were like, why? He said he has a custody battle, custody hearing. He has to go and testify on behalf of Sarah. So he, tells them about what Xander did to him, making him believe his child was had died. And Alex is just like, well, didn't Sarah do something similar to Xander? If Chloe hadn't overheard the conversation, he would have never known about what's going down between what that Victoria was his child. And I said, look at Alex defending Xander. And they say, yeah, but at the end of the day, Xander is no good person either, so it doesn't even matter. So then from there we go over, we see that as Brady was about to leave, he gets a phone call and he says, well, it looks like I'm not going to the custody hearing. It was canceled. And they were like, really? And he said, apparently, their baby was almost kidnapped today, but they found the baby and it made them soften towards each other, and they're going to try to co-parent. And they were like, Alex is like, wow, who would do that? Like kidnapping a baby? I hope they put the person under the jail and everything. And what's her name? Teresa's just like, yeah, oh, that's horrible. I said, all right. Moving right along. That's it with them, y'all. That's it. So moving right along, the next people we see are Harris, and Harris is in the pub, and um, Rafe comes in. Sorry, my mind went blank. Rafe comes in, and so when he comes in, he's talking to Harris about something he needs him to do, and he was like, "What is it?" He said, "I need your help in finding the person who killed Lee Shin." Now Harris did say that he hate that Von Luschner got the drop on Jada, and if he had known Jada was going to confront him, he would have been there with her, and she was actually at the hearing for Leo, right? So, anyways, that's what she was doing. Just drop that in because they dropped that in. So he tells Harris that he'll be happy to help him find who did this, but why did he think someone did? And so Harris says the evidence is just too convenient, and Lee wasn't himself when he past, so he might have just said Gabby, but it wasn't her. And so he's like, okay, I'll be happy to do this. I'll help you. And Paulina overhears their conversation and she said, oh, no, you won't. And so she tells them, no, my new DA has the evidence that Gabby did this, and you're not gonna, because they were gonna do it on the DL. She said, y'all are not gonna be doing this on the DL, trying to find out some other suspect wasting the department's resources. That would look bad on my new DA, and it would also look bad on me. Rafe tries to reason with her like, um if this was your, like, you know, your history as well, because Paulina has used her connection when Abe was in office for to help Chanel. I mean, I'm just being real. And so she says, are you trying to throw my past in my face? I want to tell you, you know, it's inappropriate and all that, but oh my gosh, my internet is gone. We're gonna see how this works. But she tells him that that's so inappropriate for you to talk to me like that or tell me that. And but he tells her, you know, he's sorry and he shouldn't have said that and everything, but he's just concerned about his sister, right? Which she does understand that, but still, she tells him it was inappropriate for him to address her that way. So then we go over here. Hold on. Sorry guys, I was in the middle of doing it. I don't know if this video is gonna go through. I might have to redo it. But if this goes through, then you know I didn't have to. So anyways, so there he's telling her, you know, she's like, don't throw my past up in my face or whatever. What I need y'all to focus on is the uptick in drug trafficking that's going on in Salem right now. And you let this case go with your sister, because it would not look good for the commissioner to be using the resources to, because it's his sister. And Rafe agrees with her and he said yes, they're going to focus on the drugs and stuff in Salem. So she leaves and Harris said, listen, I get it, like how you feel, it is your sister, so if you want me to look into it, I could still look into it. And but Rafe tells him no, because he was like, she Paulina is right, and he's just going to trust that Belle Brady is going to do what she needs to do to, you know, take care of Gabby. He said, but and we do need to look in the uptick in drugs and everything that's going on in Salem. And so that's what they're going to focus on. So then Harris ends up leaving to go over to speak to Ava. Right now, Ava is at her place with and she had talked to Harris earlier because they didn't get to make dinner, but he said, I can make dinner for you. We can. She tells him, well, before I go to work, we can actually have dinner. And he says, okay, well, I'll pick you up about 5:30. And she's like, all right, cool. So now she's at her place and she tells Harris when he's on the phone with her, there's a knock at the door, so let me go and get the door. And it's Gil, y'all. It's Gil at the door, and he comes over to tell her that someone got busted the night before over drugs and it was them, and they don't think he's gonna flip, but they could really he needs the evidence key so they can get the drugs and stuff back. And she said, excuse me, how am I supposed to get that? He said, get it off of Harris, your boyfriend. And she was like, no, one, Harris would know the key is gone, and two, that would link right back to me. And he says, I don't care what you have to do, just do it. So she was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And so then he says, I'm gonna tell Clyde, I understand why you don't want to do this, but I'm gonna have to tell Clyde you refuse. So one minute they're talking about that, and then the next minute he's trying to come on to Ava. And I said, Gil, now Gil, this is not that type of party. She don't want you, sir. How many times do we have to tell these men and women they don't want you? You cannot force somebody to want you. And Gil was trying to use a different kind of force. So Ava is like, boy, I don't want you. And he was like, oh, so you can only be sweet and nice to your police officer boyfriend. If you know she got a man, why are you doing this? And so then Ava is just like, leave me alone. He said, well, if you don't do what you're supposed to do or whatever, as far as doing the, you know, lifting the evidence and being nice to him, then something might happen to her son. And then he pushes his like I guess little coat back, and you see that he has a weapon on him. And so she's just like, Gil, leave me alone. You need to go. And so then Gil starts wrestling with Ava and everything to try to force her. He says, you being nice to me isn't an option. Now I'm having to be careful because y'all know this is YouTube and you can get like. So he was like, "You being nice to me isn't an option." So Ava was like, "Okay, okay, I'm sorry." He was like, "Cause we have things in common." She was like, we do." So he had grabbed her up from the back, like you know, and so she turns around and she's like, "Okay, okay," and he said, "Yeah, let's be nice to me now, or whatever." And then he thinks she's gonna just surrender, but she doesn't. She grabs his weapon and she points it at him. And he was like, "What you gonna do? Kill me? If you kill me, then something's gonna happen to your son." And she said, "Well, you were gonna try to force yourself on me." And she tells him, "You were gonna try to grape me and everything." And he says, "I wasn't gonna grape you. I'm not a rapist." And she says, "Excuse me, sir. When you tell a woman that being with you is not, they don't have an option in it, that's rapist behavior. What are you talking about? You force yourself on someone who clearly tells you, I don't want you." And he was like, "Yeah, you're making, try to act like she was making too much of it." And he says, "But you're not going to hurt me." And she said, "Well, come on over here and let me show you how much I want to blow you away." And I said, "Because, baby, that'd be one time I would have had to get rid of him and call Angelo and be like, listen, I'm in trouble. I need some help. Go ahead and take care of Clyde for me." Because it is just not making sense why she doesn't just take care of Clyde or whatever. But it will later on if you watch I guess, the winter fall spoiler. But anyway, so Gil, I guess, advanced towards her because the next thing we know, Harris is at the door and he knocks and says, "Ava, I know I'm early, but can you let me in?" Because he's knocking at the door. And then you hear the shot a shot rings out, and Harris burst into the door with his weapon pulled, and you see Gil laid back on the table because Ava had to do what he had to. I said, I bet Gil was trying to go ahead. Yep, that's what Gil gets, like, sir. But he didn't have a long time on days, but it's setting up other stuff, and we will see. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for you today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys tomorrow for an all new episode of What Happened on the Soaps Days of Our Lives edition. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.